The apartment is smaller now, or maybe it's just quieter after you fell asleep. I folded your tiny sweater on the back of a chair like it could still hold your warmth. I married the man I loved back when love was easy, before exhaustion changed the shape of his voice, before silence moved into our kitchen. He said he needed space. I gave him everything, including that. Now it's just us and the hum of the refrigerator keeping time. I found a job, they said. Congratulations, you must be proud. And I smiled, but every hour I am away feels like I am missing something small and irreplaceable. You reach for me in your sleep, even when I'm not there. Your teacher says you're doing well, so brave, so quiet. I wonder if you learned that from me. I count minutes between meetings like other women count blessings. I watch the clock more than the world, because somewhere in a daycare room my whole heart is waiting. I wanted to give you everything, a house full of laughter, two steady hands. Instead I give you mornings in a hurry and kisses at the door. I tell myself this is love too, providing, even when it costs. After you fell asleep, I sit beside your bed and memorize the way you breathe. So when I am far in fluorescent light and office noise, I can close my eyes and come back to this small, perfect world. One day you will not need my hands as much, but tonight you turn toward me in your dreams, and that is enough for me to keep going. It was a quiet evening. The sky was turning white. Street lights glowing softly In the falling night, you stood there in the snowfall. Your hands were cold as mine, breathing little clouds of hope. In the winter time, you said you'd loved me longer than I knew. Your voice was shaking, but your eyes were true. Snowflakes on your shoulders, melting into tears. I didn't know that moment would echo through the years. Every time it snows, I see you standing there under silver skies with snow upon your hair. Every falling white whispers what we were, and winter always brings the memory of you, my dear. Now we are strangers, walking different roads, different hands to hold, different hearts to hold. But when the air turns silent and the whole world slows, my heart goes back to the night of snow. Maybe love is fragile like snow upon the ground, beautiful for a moment, then nowhere to be found. I tell myself I'm stronger, I tell myself I'm fine, but winter knows the truth. You're still somewhere in mine. Every time it snows, I hear your trembling voice in that frozen night when love became our choice. Though you're not here and we let each other go, my heart remembers you every time it snows. Soft humming, brush drums fade slowly, a bright bass final low note. We didn't leave because we wanted to. We left because the walls were louder than our hands. Your mother's silence, my father's shaking head. The air grew heavy with words we never said. We folded love like a letter and placed it in separate pockets, but it was still warm. Years passed like slow trains at midnight. I learned new streets, new names, new ways to pretend. But sometimes in the quiet between heartbeats, I heard you. Now your voice voice just the way you used to breathe beside me, soft, certain mine. They said time would help. Time only made the missing deeper. And here you are, standing in the same autumn light, a little older, a little tired, but your eyes haven't changed. We don't say I waited, we don't say I tried to forget. We just stand there with all the years still between us, and somehow they disappear. Did you keep that small cafe in your memory? The corner table where your knee touched mine? Did you ever reach for your phone and stop? Because pride is louder than love. I almost called 100 times, almost. Maybe love doesn't end, maybe it waits in quiet rooms and folded letters in the space between goodbye and courage. We were never truly gone, just paused. So here we are, no anger left, no walls, no voices telling us who we should choose. Your hand finds mine like it remembers the way home, and in that touch I know some loves do not fade, they just breathe slowly until they meet again. We didn't lose, we just took the long way back to us. The airport lights were softer than I remembered. Or maybe I had changed. Foreign skies taught me distance, but not how to forget. In every crowded train, in every borrowed room, there was a quiet place inside me where you were, still standing, patient as evening light. I thought I was leaving to become someone, but every road folded back to your name. Some loves do not chase, they remain. You met me outside the station, no grand gesture, no rehearsed speech, just your hands slightly trembling, as if you were afraid I might vanish again. You did not ask why I stayed away. You did not measure the years. You simply said you must be tired, and carried my suitcase like it was nothing. While I was learning other cities, you were learning how to wait, and somehow waiting was harder. I have crossed oceans but never found a shore as steady as you. I have heard many languages but none spoke my name the way you do. So if I am brave enough to leave once, let me be brave enough to stay. Not because I have nowhere else, but because everywhere else was missing you. I do not have a ring prepared, only this: a heart that has traveled far and returned certain if you are still willing to hold my hand. Not just tonight, but always. Will you marry me? Between the pages of an old forgotten book, a photograph slipped quietly into my hands. Your smile still bright with reckless youth, frozen in a summer we once planned. The paper trembled like my breath, dust rising in the afternoon light. Time had folded us so neatly into silence out of sight. We were young enough to call it forever, brave enough to mean it then. Hearts too loud for careful love, too proud to learn how to bend. Your arm around my smaller shoulders, my laughter careless in the sun. We did not know that tenderness needs patience to become. And suddenly the tears arrive without a sound, without a warning, like rain against a window pane on an unsuspecting morning. We were only first love, learning how to fall. Too many words like sharpened glass, too many battles, far too small. I remember doors that closed too hard, the echo of our wounded pride. Nights we swore we'd never yield, standing on opposite sides. We loved as if it were a storm, wild saved us both in time. If I could speak to who we were, I would ask us to be kind, to hold each other's trembling youth and leave the war behind. But photographs do not reply, they only softly stay, a quiet proof that once we burned before we burned away. And now the tears move slow and warm across a face more calm, more grown, for all the ways we hurt each other and how we hurt alone. We were only first love, fragile, fierce and blind, pressed forever between the pages of a younger heart and time. Soft humming without words, brush drums fade, last piano chord linger.
There are two chairs in this quiet room. One is waiting, one is already gone. And I stand nowhere in between. She looks at me like I am the answer. Her hands never hesitate. She loves me with open windows, with daylight. And I receive it like a man who forgot how to deserve. Because there is another name I never say out loud. I am torn between two silences, one that asks for nothing, one that never asks at all. One love is offered, warm and certain, the other is only a shadow, and I follow it. You are not mine, and somehow that makes you heavier. I carry you in pauses, in unfinished sentences. You never promised me anything, and yet I owe you everything. I know what kindness looks like. I know what staying could be. But desire does not listen. It waits quietly until it owns the room. And I am ashamed of how softly I betray the one who loves me. I am torn between two silences. One is real and standing close. The other is just a dream. But it is the dream that keeps me awake. And I do not know which silence will forgive me. Morning will come, it always does, and I will have to choose a voice to answer. Until then, I remain a man between two silences.
I remember the way the light fell across your face. It was winter, or maybe it was just us. Growing cold. You said we should stop here. Your voice was steady, almost kind. And I broke like something fragile dropped in a quiet room. I held your coat, I held your hands, I held on to words that would not stay. I asked you if there was someone else. You said no, but your eyes had already left. Like tears could warm a frozen heart. You stood there distant, unreachable, and I thought you simply didn't love me anymore. For years I folded that night and kept it inside a drawer, telling myself I was foolish, too much, too late, too weak. I tried to forget the way your shoulders shook just once before you turned. A friend spoke your name carelessly as if it were weather. She said you had been sick. Even then she said you knew you would not stay long. I felt the room tilt all those winters, all that anger suddenly weightless. You were not leaving because you stopped loving me. You were leaving because you were already leaving. Your silence was not cruelty, it was protection, and I never knew. If I had known, I would have held you differently. Not to keep you, but to thank you for loving me. While you could, the rain tonight is softer than it was that day. And for the first time I am not crying, I am listening to what you didn't say.
You look the same, just quieter now.
Time has rested gently on your brow.
We speak of cities, work and weather days,
as if the past were something far away.
Your laughter falls soft against the glass, like something fragile
we once let pass. We measure words with careful hands, like diplomats of broken lands. We do not ask what might have been, we do not name the space between, but something warm and undefined moves beneath the practice lines together. There is a kindness in restraint, in letting certain truths grow faint. Not every love must loudly stay, some choose a quieter way.
We sit across from yesterday,
with nothing urgent left to say, yet in the calm of what we hide, old tenderness survives.
I almost reached across the table's edge, but memory is not a bridge,
it is a ledge. I've learned that longing when left alone can turn to something like a stone.
I saw it too,
that brief return, a softened light, a slower burn.
but we have grown beyond the need to make a wound
Again and bleed. The night moves on, the outgrows thin. We fold our history back within. There is a grace in letting go, in loving what we used to know. Not every flame demands a spark, some glow best in the dark.
We carry forward what was true,
not as regret but something due, a quiet chapter closed with care, still breathing in the air. I am glad you were my one.
I am grateful for our years.
Some loves are not unfinished,
They are simply complete.
so when we stand to say goodbye, there is no tremor in the sky, no desperate plea, no sharp refrain, no need to love again. Just two who shared a certain light, now walking gently into night. And in that calm we understand what does not need our hand.
After all this time,
After all this time, we are at peace.
I came back here without telling anyone. The bell above the door still sounds the same, a small silver ring in the quiet. Your chair is still there across from me. No one sits in it, but I keep looking up as if you might smile again. 2 cups, I almost ordered 2. The waitress almost asked, is she coming? I almost said yes. Your laughter used to live in this corner. It lingers somewhere between the window and my hands. I can still see you blowing on your coffee, pretending it was too hot just to make me wait. I try not to remember the way your fingers curled around mine, but this table remembers the light, remembers even the dust floating in the air, remembers.
time would move the chairs, change the walls, erase your shadow, but you are everywhere. In the smallest things, in the steam rising in the door, opening in every step that isn't yours. I don't know if you ever think of this place, if you ever miss this chair, this coffee mean. So I sit and let the evening grow around me like it used to when you were here, and I whisper into the empty space, I'm still here. I heard you found somebody new a while ago. They said you looked happy. I practiced being fine with that, like it was something a grown man should know. I told myself that love sometimes just ends. We were not gentle with each other, too many sharp words in small rooms, too much pride, not enough listening to hearts always slightly out of tune. I let you walk away because I thought you would turn back. You didn't. Tonight I heard you're alone again. They said it casually, like weather, like something that passes. And suddenly my hands remembered the shape of your name on my phone. Maybe I should call, maybe I should wait. Maybe it's too early or maybe it's too late. I don't know if you'd want to hear my voice, but silence has been louder than any other choice. I don't want to break what you're rebuilding. I don't want to be a shadow from before. But if there's even a small unguarded space where my name still fits, I'd like to try once more. Not to undo the past, not to pretend we didn't fall apart, just to say I was young and afraid and not as brave as I should have been. Finally I should call just to say hello, just to ask how you've been. Nothing more. If you close the door, I'll understand. But if you don't, I think I'm ready to be a better man. Soft breath, no final big no. Just a lingering chord.
The evening folds in muted gray, your absence settled where you lay. The clock insists on moving on, yet something here remains undone. We grew through years like ivy vines, entwined in slow and tender time. But somewhere in the quiet air, your warmth grew thin, no longer there. I felt it first in softened speech, a distant shore beyond my reach. Your eyes no longer searched for mine, they only passed, polite, benign. If love were only will and plea, I'd gather every part of me and place it gently in your hands, like fragile breaking porcelain. But hearts are seasons, I have learned, and yours has already turned. I call you back through silent air, there is no answer there. I would have held you through the cold, through every doubt you never told. I would have bent, I would have stayed, if only love could be persuaded. Yeah, you stand calm, almost kind, with careful distance in your eyes, as though our years were folded clothes you neatly chose to leave behind. Tell me, is there a word I could have said to warm the place your feeling fled? Or did your heart, without a sound, simply set itself unbound? If longing carried any weight, I'd press it softly at your gate. I'd kneel beneath your closing door and ask to be your love once more. But hearts are sovereign, stern and slow, they wither where they will not grow. I reach for you across the flame, you do not burn the same. I still know the shape of your hand in mine, the quiet between our words, the way the night once leaned toward us, now it leans pride and sorrow meet. I will not beg the fading light to circle back to me. Some seasons bloom and disappear without regret, without return. I stand within the falling dusk and let the last leaves burn. The evening falls in muted gray. Your name remains, but you do not stay. Every morning near the trees you pass with careful steps. The sunlight rests upon your sleeve in quiet silhouettes. I know the rhythm of your walk, the way you look ahead. And every day I tell myself, today I'll speak instead. My hands grow warmer in my coat, my thoughts begin to race. A simple word would be enough to cross this little space. But something tender pulls me back before I even try. The moment forms, then disappears like breath against the sky. You nod politely when we pass, a distance still between. A quiet kindness in your eyes that makes me almost brave. I rehearse a line inside my head, so soft it barely shows. But when you're near, my courage fades like melting morning snow. Perhaps tomorrow I will stay a second longer there. Perhaps I'll let my trembling voice rise into the air. And if it shakes or falls apart, at least it will be true. For now I walk beside the trees and almost speak to you. Windows open just enough for salt to find the air. The sea is breathing silver light across my wood wooden chair. My notebook waits beneath my hand, a blank and patient shore. Outside, the tide repeats itself like something heard before. Soft brush drum enters lightly. I write a line and let it rest between the waves and me. The world moves slow and white and blue, a quiet symmetry. A cup of coffee cooling down beside an unfinished thought. Nothing urgent, nothing loud, just what the morning brought. Ink and tide move the same, both return without a name. One to paper, one to sand, both erased by gentle hands. I do not chase what drifts away, I let it go and let it stay. The town beyond the harbor wall speaks in softened tones. Footsteps pass then disappear like half-remembered poems. I am not lonely here alone. The sea keeps quiet company, its steady pulse an answered prayer without asking anything of me. Ink and tide leave no claim, both dissolve without a name. Yet in their leaving something remains, a gentle hush inside my veins. The page grows full, the daylight thins, the tide withdraws, and so do I within. The sea is breathing slow tonight. I sit with your name in the light. Coffee growing colder, moon upon the tide. There is an empty chair here by my side. I do not call you, I do not weep. The sea keeps waiting, wide and deep. If you come, you'll find me here. clear. If you don't, the waves will stay and carry my heart away. I was counting little weeks like secret beads of light, holding news inside my hands all morning tight. A quiet joy I could not hide, though I tried to seem the same. I practiced how I'd say the words and gently speak your name. The sky was clear, untroubled blue. The day felt almost kind. I thought the world was standing still, waiting for the time. But silence came before your voice, strangers at my door. A sentence falling carefully onto the floor. Before I could tell you, you were gone. Before your hands could know, there's a heartbeat small and new, learning how to grow. I carry life inside of me and loss inside my chest. The world keeps turning as if nothing has been undone or left. Your jacket still hangs by the door, shoes beneath the chair. I touch the fabric as if warmth might still be there. I sit upon the edge of bed where futures once were made, and speak into an empty room of plans that will not stay. You will never see this child, your eyes or maybe mine. I press my palm against my skin and search for any sign. Before I could tell you, you had gone beyond my reaching voice. And now I stand between two worlds of miracle and loss. I will whisper who you were in lullabies at night, so you remain in fragile breath and quiet light. The words I never said are folded in my heart, and every beat reminds me where you are.
I've watched the seasons turn the page while I stayed right here. Same old desk, same midnight lamp, same quiet fear. Letters marked in careful red. Numbers circled thin. I've learned the sound of almost more than I have when they say you'll get it next time with patient, easy grace, but time begins to narrow down. It's breathing space. I fold the notes I know by heart, read lines I can recite. Still something trembles in my hands tonight. Just one more time I'll sit the chair, one more name to sign, one more silence before they say you did not make the line. But somewhere small and stubborn still refuses to step aside, a quiet voice that will not let me hide. Still, the clock is loud, like it knows the cost of every year I measured hope. And what was lost, I've tasted doubt so many times it almost feels like home. But something in me stands up straight alone. If I fall again, I'll stand again. That much I understand. But maybe this is finally the hour I can. Just one more time I'll take the breath, let the paper lie. Before the world can speak its word, I'll meet it eye to eye. No promises, no grand design, just steady, quiet flame. Whatever waits beyond that door, I'll walk the same. The lamp is on, the night is thin, and I remain still here.
cafe table, laughing at her name, your voice, so easy in the light, so unaware of mine. I stir the coffee, slow and careful, like it might delay the moment I begin to see I'm not the one you say. Soft brush drums enter lightly. You speak of her in simple tones, as if the air is clear, as if each word does not arrive too near. I nod the way a friend would nod, with practice, steady grace, and keep my fragile weather off my face. So I say nothing, nothing at all, no tremble in confession, no risking the fall. I fold my heart neatly and small, and smile as if I never loved you at all. Quiet shapes in evening silver hue, two silhouettes so close and yet not two. If I had been a little braver, or the timing kind, would you have looked this way and found me in your mind? In silence, learns to live without a sound. It does not beg, it does not turn the world around. So I say your happiness unbroken. I keep the words you'll never hear, carefully unspoken. Some loves are only meant to quietly remain, a gentle ache that falls like soft September rain. You call her name, I lift my cup and let the night stay still. The room is filled with quiet air, a ticking clock and no one there. Outside the window, city lights, but none of them feel warm tonight. I hear my footsteps on the floor, they echo louder than before. 1,000 faces pass me by, but I still feel alone inside. Maybe it's just in my mind. Maybe I'm too far behind. In this quiet world I stand alone, like a shadow without a home. So many voices in the night, but none of them say I'm alright. I smile so they cannot see how heavy this heart can be in a crowded world so wide. I am alone inside. Morning comes, I wear my face, walk into another place. Soft hellos and small goodbyes, no one reads between my eyes. I laugh when I'm supposed to laugh, play my part, stay on the path. But deep beneath the gentle sound is a silence that surrounds. Maybe someday I'll be found by a love that hears no sound. In this quiet world I stand alone, like a letter never shown. So many lights are shining bright, but none of them hold me tight. I breathe in, I let it be, this quiet loneliness in me, in a world that moves so fast. I just hope this won't always last. Maybe somewhere softly near, someone feels the same as here. Until that day, I'll gently stay and fade into the grave. You don't deny it, you don't look surprised. The silence hangs between your eyes. I thought it would hurt more than this, but something in me already left. I gave you chances, quiet and wide, like open doors. You stepped outside. I watched the way you turned away, long before you went astray. There's nothing left to fight for now. No shattered glass, no broken vow, just empty space where trust once stayed. I'm not angry, I'm just done with you. I fold your shirt from off the chair, leave it neatly waiting there. Not out of love, not out of pain, just habit learning to fade. You sat at cry or beg or stay. You never knew I'd walk away without a storm, without a sound. The quiet is where I'm strongest now. There's nothing left to say tonight. No need to prove who's wrong or right. The door is closed, but not slammed shut. I leave with dignity, and that is enough. Your name already feels like someone I once knew. No alarm, no rushing feet, no train to chase, the curtains move with gentle light across my face. The clock still ticks, but not for me, not today. I let the morning have its way. The kettle hums a softer song. An office hall steam rises slow and paints the kitchen walls. I wrap my hands around the cup, feel the quiet stay, as if the world has stepped aside to let me breathe this day. This quiet morning belongs to me. No deadlines calling out my name. No crowded rooms, no hurried air. No need to play the game. Just coffee warm and open light resting on my skin. A small and simple kind of joy from within. I sit beside the window glass and watch the trees move without an audience or urgency. I never knew how loud my days had always been until I heard the sound of nothing settling in. There's no grand event today. No shining distant prize, just sunlight on an empty chair, and time that isn't mine to chase. This quiet morning stays with me like warmth inside my hands, a gentle pause between the lines of all my plans. Tomorrow I will step again into the moving stream, but now I let myself simply be. The coffee cools, the light grows white, and I am here, unhurried, alive.